Hello and welcome to Dad Got This, where we answer the tough questions like, can you make a Filipino-style crispy skin pork belly in your Ninja Woodfire with smoke without it turning black? And what do you call it when you cross a pig and a cactus? That one's easy, a porcupine. A roast pig, Filipino-style, aka lechon, is my favorite food in the world. Honestly, I think there is almost nothing better. It has a beautiful golden crispy skin. The meat is juicy and flavorful. It is just amazing. If you ever get a chance to experience one, I say you do. I was lucky enough to go to the Philippines and try one in person, in country, in Cebu, which is known for their Filipino lechon, and blew my mind. I like to cook my own food, and cooking a whole pig is almost impossible for me. But I can cook the belly. You take the belly, you wrap it, you do it over rotisserie, over charcoal, comes out really good. The first thing we need to do is prep the wood fire. So let's grab our hopper. And for pellets, I'm gonna be using these Pit Boss charcoal pellets that I got on Amazon a while ago. I've been cooking with these a while. I really wanted to give them a good test, and they actually do a really good job of simulating that real charcoal grilled flavor. However, I don't know, Pit Boss isn't selling them right now. I can't get them on Amazon, and if you go to their website, it says it is a coming soon product. I bought this a long time ago. So, if you have a hard time finding them, I'm sorry. I'll put links if they ever pop up in the description, but they're a great pellet. I paid for them with my own money. Pit Boss didn't send me anything for this. I just like these pellets. As always, we are gonna fill our pellet hopper up to the top.
Right to the top.
That is gonna ensure good ignition and get us a really nice burn. The other way we get a nice burn is the dad shake. The dad shake either compacts the pellets and makes them burn better, separates the pellets and gives them lots of air and makes them burn better, or it does absolutely nothing and makes them burn better, but I still do it every time.
After you load your wood fire, I'm gonna set it to the smoker setting and like 225 Fahrenheit, and I'm just gonna turn the time to whatever. We're gonna set everything up in the app later.
This is my pork belly. There are many of them out there, but this one is mine. Now, this is gonna do you absolutely no good unless you happen to have a frozen seasoned pork belly in your freezer like I did. So, to explain how we got here, we need to go back to then, when I prepped this for the last video. Let's go to then.
What happened to then?
We passed then.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
The first thing you need to do is secure a pork belly with the skin on. Get it out of its cryo package and give it a little bit of a wipe down, dry it off a little bit. You're gonna wanna cut it to the width of your Ninja. We want it just as long as the Ninja, no hangover. This next step is optional, but I'm going to give the skin a salt scrub. Think about like going to a spa. We're gonna use a really coarse salt and just rub it all over the skin. It's gonna get rid of any little hairs and just kind of make your skin a little bit nicer looking and hopefully more crispy later. Once you're done rubbing all that salt into the skin, just go ahead and wipe off the excess and you are ready to jacquard your skin. It's just a fancy name for this tool where you just poke tiny holes all over the skin. It's supposed to help it crisp up better. Not sure it 100% works, but I still do it. Now that we're done with the outside, we gotta get our stuffing ready. It's not really a stuffing, it's more of just flavoring for the meat. We're gonna dice up a red onion. We're gonna dice up a whole bunch of garlic. I mean, like a lot. Like a head of garlic almost, depending on the size of your pork belly. You wanna have enough little garlic cloves to sprinkle all over the surface of your meat. Some recipes call for ginger, some don't. I'm gonna use a little bit of ginger. I like the flavor. I like to peel my ginger with a spoon and then just mince it up. Now we're gonna move on to the absolute most important part of the recipe, which is lemongrass. You can get this at Asian markets, you can get it at some Latin markets, you can even order it online if you can't find it around you, but you can't skip it. Get your lemongrass stalks and just pound the heck out of them with a mallet. This is gonna release all the oils and help the flavorings just really come out. The next step is to just cross-hatch the inside of the meat. You're gonna make little deep cuts into the meat in a cross-hatch pattern. This is gonna help us get our seasonings into the meat deep in there just for better penetration.
That's what she said.
It is now time to actually season the meat. Get yourself some sea salt and give it a good amount of salt in there. Like, this needs a lot of flavoring. Heavy, punchy flavors is important to this pork belly. So give it a good coating of salt. Next, we're gonna go on with what I call my go. It's 50% granulated garlic, and 50% granulated onion. Now, this is not traditional. This is just an extra punch of flavor that I like to add to the pork belly. Now it's time just to add in all of those chopped and diced ingredients, the garlic, the onion, the ginger. Make sure you spread it out nicely over your whole pork belly. Once you've got your seasonings all over the pork, really press it in. Get those into the little crevices we made when we did our crosshatch. This is going to help the flavor penetrate. We're all about building flavor. This part is also not 100% traditional. I'm hitting it with a little bit of white vinegar. I like the punch that the acid adds to the flavor of the pork. Next, take your lemongrass and just lay it across your pork. Doesn't really matter. You just want it to be able to fit so we can fold this pork over in half later. Fold it in half so it makes like a little sandwich, and then we are going to just completely wrap this guy in foil and stick it in our fridge for at least overnight.
When will then be now? Soon. How soon?
As you see, we got all that lovely, nice flavoring. That has penetrated. That has been in there. That is good to go. We're going to go ahead and stick these across this way now. We're going to take our elevated rack, put it down like that, and then we're going to flip. Yes, I'm losing some of the seasonings and stuff are falling out, but I'm not too worried about that because, like I said, they have done their job. And now I have a relatively flat pork belly, which is going to fit nicely in that smoker and expose all of this skin. Because the most important part in a Filipino pork belly is the skin. So we want to get this as nice and beautiful and crispy as possible with no waste. We are going to take a lot of sea salt. Now you might be saying to yourself, that's a lot of salt. That thing is going to be so salty, it's going to be inedible.
No.
And that's because the salt really doesn't penetrate the skin. It's actually just going to be sitting on top. It's not going to get soaked into it. It's just going to sit there and protect the skin from the smoke. It's also going to dry out the skin a little bit, which helps with crispiness. And we're going to be shooting for like a 190 to 200 degree internal temperature on the meat as a final done temperature for the pork. To monitor that temperature, I'm going to use the probe that came with my Ninja Woodfire Pro XL Connect. Probably close to the name. If you're using a Woodfire that doesn't have the probes, either just check it every once in a while with a good instant read, or get yourself a wireless thermometer like one of the ones I have reviewed on the channel. I'll throw some links. We're going to stick this in pretty much the middle. And we'll see how this goes. I have never done this before. This is a legitimate experiment. So you guys are going to get to figure this out if it works, just like I will. But I'm excited. I hope I don't ruin a pork belly, because that would be a huge waste. And the wood fire is ready. At this point, we will fire up the Ninja Pro Connect app. We're going to set this to a thermometer cook. We're going to do it on manual. And we are going to set this for, we're going to set this to the maximum temperature of 210 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't want it to shut off early on me. I just really want to use the probe to monitor the cook. This is the best workaround that I've had for doing this. I wish they would add the ability to just set it to like monitor and not actually turn things off and do early stuff. I just want to be able to know the temp, so that's why I'm using the probe. Keep checking on this thing every hour or so. We are right at 1 hour into this cook, and according to the app, the meat is at about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's see what it looks like. Looks pretty good, not too dark. The salt is doing its trick, but it hasn't really crusted up yet. So I think I'm going to kick this temperature up to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to refill the pellet hopper because it's empty. We are at hour number 2 in the cook. See how this pork belly looks. That's what I was expecting. We are getting that crusty salt that is becoming almost solid, and the areas that the salt wasn't covering is getting a very dark brown color. According to the app, it wants me to close the lid, but we're at 148 degrees on the meat, so we are getting there. Let's go ahead and close this down and check it again in maybe an hour or maybe less. Not 100% sure. We're gonna have to watch it. We are at 3 hours on this cook, and according to the Ninja app, we're at like 166 on the meat. That's right around sliced pork kind of texture. So I'm gonna go ahead and probe it in some other areas, see how it's going, and maybe we'll take that salt crust off. Let's see how it looks. I am pretty happy with how my probe goes in there. It's nice and easy. I'm not looking for pulled pork here, So I think this sucker's done. Let's pull that salt cap off and see what it looks like. Pull this salt off. Kind of stuck to the skin in this one spot, kind of unusual. Pulled off a little skin there. Okay. Let's give it a scrape. Skin looks great, but not crispy. We're gonna finish this in the Ninja Woodfire with no pellets at about 375. We're gonna brush it with a little bit of soy sauce and a little bit of oil, which should help just get that final crisp on the skin. Hopefully, we're not looking for bubbly skin. We're looking for just a solid sheet of crispy skin, but I'll take bubbly skin if that's the only crispy skin I can get. Let's go set the Ninja up for that. While we're waiting, let's make a little quick Filipino sasawan. Sasawan is basically just a dipping sauce. Everybody makes theirs a little different, and you can adjust however you like. So for mine, I'm gonna throw some garlic in. Normally I'd throw a little bit of white onion in there, but I don't have any right now. I used up all my onions for another recipe. Some chunky tomatoes. This is a spicy Filipino coconut vinegar. I absolutely love it. This is already called sasawan. This has got some spices and all sorts of stuff going on in it. And then I like to add a little bit of soy sauce. Give it a little stir. So this guy went for about 45 minutes. That is the sound you want. Visually, this is a little bit darker than you would see a traditional Filipino roast pig, but it's not terrible. This is the color, this golden brown color, not the darker spots. But I think we're still gonna be okay. It's just gonna add a little bit of extra smoky flavor, I hope. We're gonna let this rest for at least 10 minutes. Quick little photo shoot later, and I think we are ready to give this thing a cut. Ooh, definitely crispy. Check how the meat looks. Ooh, yeah, definitely still juicy. Looking great. Say that looks pretty fantastic. Pop a piece of skin off. That is the most important part. Let's listen for the crunch. Definitely crunchy. Crunchy, 100%. It is a little bit thicker. Now that could be the skin itself is a little thicker than I'm used to. A little thicker, a little harder to crunch through than you normally would get with like a real roast pig, but very good. We're gonna pop off this whole section of skin here. We're gonna take a slice of roasted pork belly meat. Looks fantastic. Still very hot to hold. Give it a taste. Oh man. The lemongrass and the garlic and all the special stuff that you put in there, perfect. It's got a great texture on it. It is the perfect consistency. It is not too soft. It is not hard at all. That is absolutely perfect. Let's try a piece of this skin from the middle. Guy in the middle is still chewy. Yeah, I thought that section in the middle was gonna be a little bit rubbery. It's supposed to crisp like the other one. So not perfect, but pretty darn good. You might hit a bit where the salt was on the meat at the end from the salt crust, but I have absolutely no complaints about that. That is delicious and worth the effort. Now, if you wanna see me do one over a charcoal grill with a rotisserie, like the proper way, let me know. I'll do it. Just get to eat more of this. If you enjoy this content and this channel, please do the likey, subscribe stuff. YouTube loves it when you leave a like. I love it when you leave a comment. I answer just about every comment in my comment section. And if you really want to support this channel, consider becoming a member. Members get early updates, early access to videos, shout outs, producer credits, all kinds of fun stuff. I really appreciate each one of you as a member. But if you don't want to be a member, just subscribing is a big help to me. I would really appreciate it. Like I said, I'll throw a bunch of links for different stuff down in the description below. Some of them will be affiliate links. They help me out if you use them, and I also appreciate that. So I guess we answered whether you can make a pretty passable Filipino-style lechon pork belly in your Ninja Woodfire with some smoke. Now I guess that only leaves one question left to answer. What do you call a pig who's a detective? Sherlock Hams. Yeah, Dad may tell horrible dad jokes, cook some really great pork, but one thing Dad will never do is an outro. So that's it. Bye.
This is the part where I thank all of my members. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for your support, and rock on. I don't know why I said rock on, but rock on.